Hello everybody and welcome back to the Dragon's Library. So we're back with my best of 2023 lists, and this is going to be going over my favorite books that were released last year. So, to start off this little retrospective, let's go over Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. Now, Godkiller was a fantasy novel of a nation at war with its own gods, beings brought into existence by the beliefs and desires of humanity, Neil Gaiman style. After a fire god killed the main character Kissen's family, she became a bounty hunter who took out rogue gods. However, when she discovers the newborn god of white lies who has bound himself to a young noble, she can't just kill him, because, child murder. So she protects the two as they journey to the last refuge of the wild old gods in search of answers. The book was a lot of fun for me personally. I really liked the world it painted, the way the gods start out generous and beloved, only become more corrupt and petty. They might offer, hey, give me some seashells in your worship and I will stop the tides and make everything calm at the beach. And then as they grow more well-known and their worship spreads across the kingdom and they're worshipped by millions and millions, suddenly becomes, hey, give me human sacrifice or I give you hurricane. However, while I like this story, it doesn't really have a lot of original ideas, and while that doesn't mean I dislike it, because I definitely think it was one of the better things I read this year, I would instead recommend it to anyone who likes Neil Gaiman. It's not as good as the rest of his portfolio, not as well written, but it definitely scratches a similar itch, and it was a fun time. Plus, now you don't have to order it from Europe, because they actually sell it in America. That was a whole thing when it first came out. Don't get me started. Watch the review if you want to know. Moving on from there, we have Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Now, she's most well known as the writer of the Grishaverse series, including Six of Crows and a bunch of other books, but mostly Six of Crows, because that is one of the best fantasy novels I've ever read. I love Six of Crows so much, it's one of my favorite books. And this was a lot of fun. If you like weirder urban fantasy premises that lean more into the mundane of it, then this will kind of be for you. The core premise of this and The Ninth House, it's the previous book in the series, is that magic is real but needs certain locations to work properly. So some secret shady society, Illuminati, magic cult, built these buildings, these ancient, houses upon different ley line places. And the problem with that is they're set on top of these Ivy League schools, and as a result, all the people who practice magic are the Ivy League brats actually in these essentially frat houses who would prefer to get wasted on magic drugs than manipulate the stock market, but they do it begrudgingly for the older members for funding. It's this very fun, trust kids in charge of all the magic in the world thing that is kind of depressing and hilarious at the same time. The main character is someone who got the unenviable task of policing magic users since they're part of the Ninth House. The only house that doesn't really build itself a ley line. They take in other magic artifacts and confiscate shit to get their stockpile. And they're essentially the magic police. They have to keep the other idiots in check, which is why all their members are from outside the old legacy families. The sequel to Hellbent has the return of the main character's mentor as a demon after complicated stuff, and a new conspiracy, which is a lot of fun, full of interesting ideas, and I would highly recommend it. It's not Leigh Bardugo's best work, that would still be Six of Crows. If I haven't said this already, go read Six of Crows. But it is definitely one of her better stories, and I enjoyed it a lot more than watching that Season 2 of Shadow and Bone on Netflix. Good God, that was terrible. Next up, we come to what I like to call the Dragon Rider duo. Because two writers decided, hey, we're going to release two books about Dragon Riders within a week of each other, and I feel like it was personally just to screw with my schedule. The first of these is Christopher Paolini, writer of The Inheritance Cycle. He finally returned to this setting after many years away, and I had a lot of fun with it. I know not everyone did. My comments should make very clear to me that some people utterly loathe Murtagh, but you know what? Look, I'm an Inheritance Cycle fan. I loved the books as kids. I've read them over and over and over again. And I get it. A lot of people were like, this is a disgrace, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I've been that way about some series too. That's your opinion. Completely valid. But this is my channel, and I personally really liked Murtagh. Okay? Was it perfect? No. But, none of the Inheritance Cycle books were perfect if you're looking at them from a writing perspective. They were, as some people have said, Lord of the Rings crossed with Star Wars. And you know what? I accept them as that. That's what they are. They're not high writing or anything like that, but high art and low art are kind of stupid concepts anyway, so I like Inheritance Cycle. I like Eragon, Eldest, Brisingr. Hell, I even like the last one. I like them all. And I like Murtagh. Your opinion is completely valid, but I enjoyed watching Murtaugh learn he can't just run away from his problems. I like Thorn getting over his fear of tight spaces, and I enjoyed the introduction of a bit of Lovecraftian horror to the setting. Meanwhile, we have The Iron Flame, which is a little less divisive, sequel to what seems to be the most talked about book of the year, The Fourth Wing. And I'm gonna be honest, I preferred The Fourth Wing. Surprise! The Fourth Wing takes the Iron Flame's place at the last minute. Now, The Fourth Wing was an excellent, well-placed story of a girl forced by her general of a mother to join the cutthroat dragon riders rather than become a scribe, and I, again, loved it. The book hit that same note the Scholomance did for me. The basic idea is you take a fantasy premise like a magic school or dragon riders and give it a lethal twist. So, it sucks to be a mage because monsters are almost trying to kill you, and dragon rider school really sucks because if the other students don't kill you in a bid to get a promotion, the dragons might off you because they think you're weak, or because you looked at them funny. It also had a cool conspiracy mystery underlying the story, which was a lot of fun if done right. So, yeah, romance, action, mystery, and epic cliffhanger, dragons. The Fourth Wing was popular for a reason, and the sequel, while still good, was just not as impactful as this original book. Finally, we have my favorite books of the year, and of course, I could not be unbiased about this. I mean that literally, these are just my opinions, and if you liked any of these books this year, or anything I haven't read this year more than this, let me know, because I'd probably like to read it. For me, though, Rachel Aaron has been the all-star of this year. I found her books like 4 or 5 years ago, and ever since then, she has been, like, my favorite author. For those of you who haven't, heard much about her, well, you obviously haven't been watching this channel much because I talk about her almost nonstop. She's among my favorite authors, a list that includes Christopher Paolini, Naomi Novik, and Neil Gaiman. And this year, she released the second book in her Crystal Calamity series to start off, which I wasn't too enthusiastic about, quite frankly. But then she released By a Silver Thread and its sequel With a Golden Sword, and I was instantly hooked. Taking place in her DFZ universe, it shows us a secret world of the Fae hidden under the shadows of the DFZ, an urban fantasy setting augmented with a cyberpunk aesthetic, which is just such a cool idea. It reminds me of Kamigawa and Neon Dynasty from Magic the Gathering. Except this started before all of those. Delving into these new concepts while explaining the forbidden blood magic that had been only hinted about in previous series, the stories add to the inherent chaos of the Detroit Free Zone, and I had a blast watching the changeling Lola try and outsmart the charismatic blood mage Victor as he tries to trick the world into worshipping him in an attempt to make blood magic the dominant form of human sorcery. And like I said, it's been a wild ride. We met with the Queen of the Fairies, fought some paladins, dealt with this evil blood mage who's trying to create a monster out of shared human belief. All cool stuff. The trilogy's last installment is set to come out in the start of February of 2024. This makes the 4th book Rachel Aaron has written in about a year and a day, and that is an absurd amount of writing for one author. So I can't wait to read The Illusion. Thank you, Rachel Aaron. You do great work. And yeah, those are my books of the year. Going over it all, this has been a pretty decent year. Not like amazing. I mean, Rachel Aaron obviously has been amazing, and, Fourth Wing was like a sensation. So, actually, you know what? Yeah, it was a pretty good year. Pretty enjoyable, lots of good fantasy books, and, yeah. Moving on from there, we have the announcements. Don't have much to say. I'm going to be starting playing the new Prince of Persia, hopefully this Thursday. I don't know when this is coming out. It might come out either Wednesday afternoon or Thursday during the day, so, if you get the message, come watch me stream 7:30 on this channel. It'll be fun. And that's basically it. Moving on to the out card, we have a subscribe board. Click on my channel, go and subscribe. We'll have videos from the rest of 2023 if you want to look over what else I reviewed. And also we have the video YouTube recommends. Click on it, just go watch it. Stay around, do some on my channel. It'll be fun. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.